Hey guys, some gamer dude here. So Tsukuyomi was shown off this past week. A lot of people went really crazy over it. I was impressed until I started doing a bit of maths, and now I'm kind of disappointed. Not that it's bad per se, just that it's very overhyped, and I don't think the current deck's going anywhere. I really don't. So let's just start with Goddess of the Crescent Moon Tsukuyomi. As standard stats, grade 1, who only has an effect on Vanguard, has a very similar effect to her original. At the beginning of your ride phase, if you have Godhawk Ichibiyoshi in your soul, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, put one from among them into your hand, put the rest on the bottom in any order, and discard a card from your hand. If you discarded Half Moon, ride it as stand and you can't ride this turn. First thing, your chance of actually checking for Half Moon and Full Moon on the next level is just short of 36%. It's not very likely. It's just over a third of the time. Likewise, even if you chuck back 3 cards from your opening hand, your chances of actually drawing Crescent Moon for that initial ride are only about 52%. They're not very likely. It's very inconsistent. This was the way it used to be as well. Actually, this is strictly superior to the original because you get something filtered in your hand regardless, and it can be a +1 if you had or you hit Half Moon, but it's still not very consistent. And the ways of getting things into the soul, I should say, seem to be a bit slower than they used to. I don't exactly remember the original cards terribly well right now. Goddess of the Half Moon Tsukuyomi is a standard stats grade 2, and I think she's quite a bit better than the past. Actually, the past in general, because this is actually our first ride chain for the V era, and they've made a design upgrade that I quite like, and I think really should have been there for a while. That she gets something on Vanguard and Rearguard if you have Crescent Moon in the Soul, the grade 1 form. She becomes a 12,000 beater. It's not the most impressive card in the world, a 12,000 beater. You can hit Force clans properly, but it's something. She's not just a 9,000 vanilla on the Rearguard. And her first effect is very much like Crescent Moon's only effect, except it searches for Goddess of the Full Moon, and you don't have to have Crescent or Ichibiyoshi in the Soul, either of them. You can just do it. So, honestly, the card you're actually wanting to hit more is kind of Tsukuyomi 2. You want Tsukuyomi 2 and 3 more than you want 1. You kind of do want 1, but there's ways to circumvent needing to ride it so much. So let's just get on to Goddess of the Full Moon Tsukuyomi. Goddess of the Full Moon Tsukuyomi has the standard stats for Protect Grade 3 and 2 effects. Activated Vanguard Circle once per turn, counterblast 1 and discard a card from your hand. Choose up to 3 cards of Tsukuyomi in their card names in your soul. Draw cards equal to the cards chosen. If you drew 3 cards, look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Put up to 2 cards from among them on top of your deck in any order. And then put the rest on the bottom on any order. And then automatic Vanguard Circle when you check 2 triggers during your drive check that turn. Until end of turn, 3 of your front row gain plus 10,000 power. Well, it says 2 or more. That's probably future-proofing, but I don't think it'll amount to anything. Because the card that actually increases drive checks is only for mages right now. So, there's a few things with this. One, on the initial ride, provided you have grade 1 and grade 2 Tsukuyomi in the soul, you're getting a +1 and none of the rest of the effects. None of them trigger. Well, the second one's up to chance, but it's not very likely. You kind of have to get the entire ride chain off exactly to even have her worth using on initial grade 3 ride. Oddly enough, and this is the really surprising thing, she's kind of a bad initial ride because of this. You'd probably want to run something that works synergistically with her, like the upcoming Uraili or CEO Amaterasu. I like Amaterasu because you can make a sun and moon joke, or sisters doing it for themselves. There's some joke there. We can make a meme out of it, guys. We'll make a meme. But yeah, you're not very likely to get a full effects of, which forces her up to a grade 4. Thing is, as a grade 4, she's actually not terribly bad, I guess. if you hit grade 1 and grade 2, we have a card that's new to this set called the White Hair of Inaba, that when it boosts grade 3 Vanguard, you can put a card from your hand into your soul to draw a card, which means it can get you up to 2 grade 1s and a grade 2 into the soul. I guess you don't really need to ride the third Tsukuyomi. Or if you ride, actually get the chain successfully, you can, well, it's still a turn 4 to get every effect off it. It's actually really inconsistent for getting all the effects unless something else boosts it up. And that's kind of the problem. Likewise, we're going to have 12 critical triggers in this deck now because Oracle Think Tank draws so damn much. Even with the Perfect Guards moving to grade 1's not terribly important, and we just draw, with the grade 3s in the current deck, we just get Perfect Guards whenever we re-ride. We don't really need to run Perfect Guards. All the critical triggers will be more beneficial like it has in the past over running draw triggers. See, you look at this effect and you think, oh, I can stack 2 critical because I'm running 12 now. Well, here's the thing about that. Your chance of getting 2 triggers, period, from that top 5 is only 53%. Getting 2 criticals if you run 12, 35.5. Then we look at our buddy D, who's been around for yonks now, who checks the top 7 for your 12 criticals. Well, dear buddy, just checking criticals, gets it 55% of the time now. Instead of what was he before? He was 31.9, so 32% chance. The D deck is still more consistent at doing the exact same thing Tsukuyomi's trying to do, and does more of it because it powers up the entire field without this circumstance happening. Tsukuyomi is inconsistent. That's the problem. Now, we haven't seen all the support. Maybe there's stuff to specifically chuck in grade 1 or 2 if you don't have it in your soul. That could be a thing. It would probably benefit the deck a lot. I think that's the support that it desperately needs. But right now, the Imperial Daughter D deck isn't going anywhere. There's no reason to. You're running a bunch of cards that really don't do anything for what? A card that's half of D later on around and doesn't even promote rewriting all that much. Because once you're on Tsukuyomi, you only want to ride other Tsukuyomis, which means that you're locked into only really 4 protect gifts. That's not very good. That causes problems, especially with, I'm not even sure you'll want to run Perfect Guards period now. You might just want to rely on the gifts. And yeah, I mean, this isn't me saying Tsukuyomi's bad. This is me saying Tsukuyomi's dodgy compared to what we have. I'd honestly be more inclined to check out witches and mages right now than Tsukuyomi until Tsukuyomi gets something to make us more consistent. Whitehair's good at it, but it's too slow. We need something that if you have a, say, Tsukuyomi 2 on your Vanguard circle and you don't have Tsukuyomi 1, put a Tsukuyomi 1 from your hand into your soul. If you have Tsukuyomi 3, same effect. Put a grade lower if you don't have it in there. Anyway, this is probably not going to go over too well because a lot of people are really hyped up about this card. But to be quite frank, the maths simply isn't there. The timing simply isn't there. It's not bad. It's just Imperial Daughter and Deer are still better. They're not going anywhere. Deer is honestly the new Silent Tom. It's kind of funny. Everyone was like, Silent Tom restricts the design of Oracle Think Tank back in the day. And it did to a certain degree. I think it too was a bit overhyped because it forced you into running things to make it hit the right amount. But Deer being so good has overshadowed the rest of the clan. If Deer didn't exist, Tsukuyomi Full Moon would be so powerful it'd make heads spin. But Deer does exist. So that's it for today's video. This video might get me a little bit of heat because I know this is a very popular character, and from what I've seen, the card is very popular, but I just have to be honest with my own observations. The deck we have is better. I'm sorry. But anyway, this has been some Gamer Dude, and thanks for watching.